U.S. deficit tops $1.8 trillion in 2024, as interest on debt surpasses trillion-dollar mark. So the interest on the debt, one line item in the budget, is now north of $1 trillion. The deficit itself is almost $2 trillion. What are we spending now? 6 or 7 trillion a year? I'm losing track myself. Where are we fiscally?
For this next 12 months, they're going to spend $7.8 trillion.
but we only take in, what, about 4 or 5 trillion?
Yeah, we're estimated taking about $5.2 trillion in the coming 12 months.
Well, that's where you
months.
Get the $1.8 trillion dollar
and
deficit,
so it's just getting crazy scary here. So you can't just spend your way out of a problem or a crisis, et cetera. And we've just gone bonkers. So the Treasury every month reports how much debt they add every month. And remember, we had a questioner, one of our listeners called in and said, "Oh, you meant, $2 billion a day, didn't you?" that we add to the debt. And I'm like, where do you hear these numbers, buddy?
Yeah. Yeah.
So on October 11th, the Federal Reserve's website was supposed to release what they had for September's debt. They just took it down and changed it. I will release that next week. They literally moved it out because they wanted to get it off a news cycle and released it on a Saturday and 10 days late. Yeah. And it turns out it was $510 billion added that month. $500 billion was added basically in 3 weeks. I mean, this is insanity. And so, and there's a chart. I've got a chart right from Bloomberg that tracks this every day that shows that jump in the debt. And it's so hard for people to understand because it sounds like plain numbers. It just makes no sense. But we've seen countries, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, we've seen countries go down this road where they just start overspending because nobody stops them to try and maintain power control, et cetera, in a moment in time. And it always ends badly. And we are now at a precipice that you cannot get this genie back in the bottle. Our defense spending, Chip, is less than $900 billion. $894 billion, I think, is the budget number for this next year. We're now at 1.1 to 1.3 trillion in interest payments. By the way, that's over $3,900 for every American every year. Well, that just interest payment. That is not, you're not paying any principal, but that's what each American owes just if we were to maintain paying interest on our debt.
Well, and you noted, so right now that's about a quarter of our revenue is going to it, and we're on pace to get up to about 30% of all of our government revenue is going to have to go to just paying interest on the debt, never mind paying off the debt.
Well, to kind of quote one of my favorite economists, Brian Westbury, we talk about him often. He from First Trust portfolios. So he had put out a tweet earlier in the week. Federal spending fiscal year 23 was $6.13 trillion. Federal spending fiscal year 24, which just ended in September, was $6.75 trillion. That's an increase of over 10%. GDP was up 5.7%, which we had the administration bragging on. So you spend 10% to get 5.7. Is that a good investment? Is that a good ROI on your money?
Multiplier going the wrong direction.
And so for these people that, let's just call it, maybe have low IQs that think, oh, the government spending is fueling the economy. That's not fueling the economy. That's negative, right?
Well, a lot of people on Capitol Hill of both parties will say, well, we're investing in the country when they talk about spending. But as you say, well, what's the ROI?
Please let me know where the government has invested money where we've made anything more efficient. Just name one example. I'd love to hear it.